A rare photograph captures a significant moment in martial arts history, a welcome home celebration for Masutatsu Oyama, founder of Kyokushin Karate, returning from the United States. In the image, Oyama is surrounded by a remarkable assembly of martial arts legends: Tatsukuma Ushijima, judo instructor to Masahiko Kimura; Tatsuo Yamada, founder of Nippon Kempo Karate; Yuasa, judo instructor at Majiro Police Station; Hideyoshi Shiro, Shotokan Karate; and So Neichu, Oyama's true karate teacher. Among them stands Sawai Kenichi. Sawai had returned to Japan with a powerful martial art from China known as Taikiken. For a time, Taikiken and Kyokushin Karate engaged in mutual exchanges, helping each other refine their techniques. Footage exists from those exchange matches, likely never meant for public release, featuring top Kyokushin fighters, including members of the Matsui faction. The videos showed Taikiken practitioners holding their own against Kyokushin, widely considered at the time to be the pinnacle of practical martial arts. There was no sign of inferiority. Kenichi Sawai was a highly accomplished martial artist. From a young age, he trained in traditional Japanese jujutsu and went on to achieve 5th dan in Kodokan Judo, 4th dan in Kendo, 4th dan in iaido. In judo, he trained under two of the greatest masters, Mifune Kyuzo and Toku Sanpo. While stationed in China during wartime, Sawai encountered a martial art that would change his life: Yiquan, created by Wang Xiangzhai, a man known as the pinnacle of Chinese martial arts. Wang Xiangzhai was a revolutionary martial artist in China. Known for his devastating combat ability and honored with the title Guoshu, National Hand, he developed Yiquan from the essence of traditional arts like Xing Yiquan. Wang's journey began as the last disciple of Guo Yunshen, training in Xing Yiquan and Zhanzhuang, standing meditation. By 1913, he was teaching at the Beijing Military Martial Arts Institute and refining his skills through matches with masters of Xing Yiquan and Shui Jiao. He traveled across China, training, fighting, and learning. He began his journey by learning Xinyi Ba at the famed Shaolin Temple of Mount Song, a name known by martial arts enthusiasts around the world. After suffering defeat in Hunan to practitioners of Xinyi and Crane Fist, he chose to learn from them, absorbing their techniques. In 1926, Wang resumed teaching in Tianjin and Shanghai. Around this time, he began emphasizing both combat effectiveness and physical health through his own uniquely developed teaching system, which he had refined through personal research and innovation. He also abandoned the traditional format of teaching martial arts through fixed forms, kata, which had been cultivated over many years, and instead adopted a method focused on directly learning the essence of martial arts. He eventually founded Yiquan, meaning intent fist, a style that removed fixed forms in favor of internal strength, awareness, and direct learning. Around this time in Shanghai, there was a Western Youth Association where a Hungarian named Ingel, said by some to have been a former world lightweight boxing champion, was coach. Ingel fought matches against Shanghai martial artists and remained undefeated, boldly declaring, "Chinese martial arts are nothing special." The head of the Shanghai Qingpeng, a mafia group, could no longer tolerate this and placed a reward notice in the newspaper: 18.5 kilograms of silver to anyone who can defeat Ingel. But no one was able to rise to the challenge. It was then that Wang Xiangzhai, at the age of 40, was volunteered. Wang Xiangzhai answered the call. Despite weighing only around 50 kilograms, He defeated Ingle so thoroughly that Ingle later wrote in the London Times, "As soon as my arm touched Wang's, it felt like I had been struck by electricity. I thought my heart was going to leap out of my chest." There are also accounts of Wang engaging in matches with Japanese practitioners. After the Marco Polo Bridge incident in 1937 sparked the Second Sino-Japanese War, China fell into a three-sided quagmire with Mao Zedong's Eighth Route Army, Chiang Kai-shek's Nationalist Army, and the Japanese military all locked in fierce conflict. The Japanese army had by then gained control of the northern regions centered around Beijing. At this time, Wang was approaching the age of 60. Rumors of a powerful Chinese martial artist began to spread among the Japanese stationed there. One of those who heard the rumor was Sawai, who was in China on military duty. Hada Ichiro, who would later be called the father of Japanese wrestling and had served as secretary to Kano Jigoro, the founder of Kodokan Judo, also faced off against Wang Xiangzhai. It is said he was completely outclassed, being thrown repeatedly. Wang allowed the judoka to freely grip his sleeves and collar and attempt techniques, but they could not even disturb his balance, let alone throw him or bring him into a ground fighting situation. Around the same time, Sawai, who held a 5th dan in judo, a 4th dan in kendo, and a 4th dan in iaido, challenged Wang but was easily handled, both in unarmed combat and in sword techniques. Right then and there, Sawai resolved to become Wang's student. Given the tense political situation, it was not a time when Japanese were readily accepted as disciples. However, Sawai persisted in his requests despite being repeatedly turned down. A week later, Wang finally permitted him to join and taught him without any discrimination alongside the other students. In fact, it may have been the other martial artists and disciples who felt bitter, thinking, of all people, why a Japanese whose country is occupying our land? By 1939, while teaching in Beijing, Wang published notices in the local press inviting broad martial arts exchanges. Many martial artists visited, presumably for challenge matches, but none, including those facing his top disciples, were able to defeat him. After Japan's defeat in the war, Kenichi Sawai intended to commit suicide together with his family. However, on that very day, Wang Xiangzhai visited Sawai's home and said, "Japanese people are earnest and dedicated in everything they do, but when they fail, they often wish to die. That is foolish. Dying by your own hand accomplishes nothing. Leave China as soon as you can and return to Japan. That too is part of the path of Yiquan. Whatever you do not let thoughts of death take hold." Wang earnestly urged him many times, and in 1947, Sawai left China after 12 years of residence. He returned to Japan, known as Wang Xiangzhai's only foreign disciple. Upon returning to Japan, Kenichi Sawai, having received permission from Wang, founded Taikiken. He began training with a small number of students at Meiji Shrine in Tokyo. Faithful to his teacher's philosophy, he emphasized practicing in nature and never established a permanent dojo. Since it follows the lineage of Yiquan, Taikiken has no kata, forms. Training focuses on fundamental movements such as Ritsuzen, standing meditation, crawling, yuri, swaying, neri, kneading, as well as on push hands and free sparring. Visibly, the movements are minimal. At a glance, it hardly looks like martial arts training. However, because Sawai had previously studied arts like judo, he would sometimes teach groundwork, newaza, to his students, and on occasion, even instruct them in Wu Xingquan, 5-element fist, a fundamental technique of Xing Yiquan, the predecessor to Yiquan. Due to its innovative and logical training system, Taikiken has received high praise from many martial artists, Budo practitioners, and fighters. Since Sawai had a close friendship with Kyokushin founder Oyama, there was once active cross-training and sparring between the Taikiken and Kyokushin schools. It was said that many top-level fighters from Kyokushin participated, so one might expect the matches to have been one-sided in favor of Kyokushin. It seemed like there was a contest from the start between Kyokushin Kaikan, which has the highest number of students at the highest level in Japan, and has held many large-scale tournaments simulating actual combat, and Taikiken, which doesn't even have a permanent dojo, only trains a small number of students, and does not hold matches. Also, with all due respect, the Taikiken students shown on screen did not look strong in any way. It seems palm strikes to the face were allowed, while other rules followed Kyokushin standards. Notably, Taikiken fighters didn't allow the match to become a typical Kyokushin-style fight, which left a strong impression. Let's take a look at the footage. What do you think? It may not have the elegance of a kung fu movie, but perhaps the real power of Taikiken lies in its ability to nullify the strengths of its opponents. Chinese martial arts are often dismissed as only looking good on film and being impractical in real fights. However, styles like Sanda, Chinese kickboxing, and Shuai Jiao, Chinese wrestling, prove that there are indeed many combat-effective martial arts in China. I'm not an expert in Chinese martial arts, so if any of the viewers are knowledgeable about realistic Chinese martial arts, I'd greatly appreciate it if you could share your insights in the comments. Let's watch one more match. The man in karate uniform is head instructor of the Matsui School of Kyokushin. Director Matsui is the winner of the 4th World Championship and has completed a 100-person kumite, making him a truly top-level karateka. Not only was he able to take blows one-sidedly from such a fierce opponent, but he was also able to fight back at key points, showing the high level of his Taikiken. Even among students of Kyokushin, There are probably many who did not know that Chief Instructor Matsui participated in matches with other styles of martial arts, including those involving the face being exposed. Many practitioners from other styles also sought instruction under Sawai. One of them was Royama, a top disciple of Mas Oyama. Royama achieved the rank of 7th Danrenshi in Taikiken. One day, while training alone, Royama was approached by Sawai. Sawai, who frequently visited the Kyokushin headquarters at the time, said, "I've seen you at the Kyokushin dojo before. What kind of training are you doing now?" Royama replied, "I'm practicing karate and kickboxing." Sawai then asked, "Do you think you'll still be able to do that kind of training at my age?" Then he said, "Come at me." Royama attacked, only to be easily controlled and knocked onto his rear. From that day on, Royama also studied under Sawai, eventually becoming the All-Japan champion and world tournament runner-up. Antonius Johannes Giesink, gold medalist in judo at the Tokyo Olympics, also studied Taikiken under Sawai. Hiroshige Tsuyoshi, considered the greatest teacher in Kyokushin history and known for producing countless champions, also learned from Sawai. He emphasized the fundamental Taikiken exercises, Ritsuzen, standing meditation, high, crawling, yuri, swaying, and neri, kneading, and was known for instructing his dojo students in them. Among the elite fighters Hiroshige trained are current Shin-Kyokushin chairman Midori Kenji, Yamaki Kenji, Kazumi Hajime, and Tsukamoto Norichika, all of whom also incorporated Taikiken's fundamental training into their practice. It is even said that Kazumi Hajime was the one who most thoroughly integrated the essence of Taikiken into Kyokushin. His footwork during matches was especially reminiscent of that found in Taikiken. It's also said that there were not a few from Kendokai and Goju-ryu who sought instruction from Sawai. According to Hiroshige, Sawai would tell such individuals, "First, go earn your Dan rank in your current style, then come to me." This was because Sawai, already advanced in age, could only teach a limited number of students. He wanted to ensure that each student had the ability to stick with things over time. It was also because those with solid fundamentals from other martial arts could absorb the teachings more quickly. Sawai Kenichi passed away on July 16, 1988. But his legacy lives on, not only among Taikiken disciples, but also across different styles, continuing to influence many martial artists today. He is known as Mas Oyama, the founder of Kyokushin Kaikan. But he was the first to seek a path to mixed martial arts after the war. He was one of the first striking martial artists to adopt modern weight training. Many of the episodes in the manga based on Mas Oyama are fictional. He resonated with the ideas of General Ishihara, the mastermind behind the Manchurian incident. He learned karate from Cho, who later became a leader of Koreans in Japan, and he had close ties with the bosses of the two major Korean Yakuza gangs in Japan. It is not widely known that Oyama looked up to Kimura Masahiko, who was widely regarded as the strongest fighter in actual combat, as his older brother, that he had connections with Kimura Masahiko's teacher, Ushijima Tatsukuma, and elders of various schools of karate, that he studied under Yamaguchi Gogen, the de facto founder of Hondo Goju-ryu karate, that there was a feud between Kimura Masahiko and Rikidozan, who is said to be the father of Japanese professional wrestling, that he was the model for Ryu in the video game Street Fighter, and that Kimura Masahiko witnessed Oyama in actual combat. It is no exaggeration to say that Kano Jigoro, the founder of Kodokan Judo, is one of the most important figures in modern Japanese martial arts. Nearly all Japanese martial arts have adopted a rank system, and nearly all Japanese unarmed martial arts require the use of uniforms, both of which were invented by Kano. By removing dangerous techniques from jujutsu and minimizing the time lost due to long rest due to injury, it became possible to improve skills in a short period of time, and it became a subject studied in schools. Although judo is an elite martial art, what is less known is that in the early days, students competed in inter-style matches against wrestlers and boxers from overseas, and that Kano himself competed in inter-style matches against jujutsu practitioners.
The Dainippon Butokukai awarded people who contributed greatly to martial arts. The lowest title is Renshi, but simply receiving the title of Renshi from the Dainippon Butokukai is proof that the person has first-rate skills in the martial art. The highest title is Hanshi. Some of the early Hanshi were real samurai just a few years before. We will introduce some of the Hanshi who possess top-class skills in each martial art, with a brief profile for each martial art. The Dainippon Butokukai was founded to bring together modern Japanese martial arts, promote martial arts, preserve ancient martial arts, integrate techniques with other styles of competition, and honor martial artists. During the Pacific War, it came under government control, but after the war it was dissolved by GHQ, who deemed its nationalism dangerous. What was the Dainippon Butokukai that led martial arts to a position unparalleled in other countries and developed techniques to an unparalleled level?
When Japan entered the Meiji era, it actively adopted Western culture and aimed to leave Asia and join Europe, regarding the old and backward civilizations of Asia, as well as Japan's own traditional culture, as inferior. In the flow of this movement, Japanese martial arts once fell into decline. However, with Japan's victory in the First Sino-Japanese War, the ideology of enriching the country and strengthening the military gained momentum. As a result, the Dainippon Butokukai was established to gather and unify the various schools of Japanese martial arts. Japanese martial arts were revived once more. As Japan plunged into the Pacific War, the Dainippon Butokukai was placed under government control and began to strengthen its role in supporting the war regime. It was during this very time that a high-ranking member of the Dainippon Butokukai contributed an article to the organization's official publication, Butoku. From this article, we can clearly see the attempt to spread the influence of martial arts to all Japanese citizens. But what was the government's intention at the time? How were Japanese martial arts utilized under wartime conditions, and what was expected of them? It is widely known among martial arts enthusiasts overseas that the Dainippon Butokukai, originally founded to promote and honor martial arts, was dissolved by the GHQ after the war. However, what happened between the lines of that history remains largely unknown. The contributions in Butoku offer insight into why the organization came to be dissolved. For those interested in Japanese military history and the history of martial arts, this is a must-see.